But for young people, the biggest concern they have is the fact they face a grim future in terms of owning their own home or accumulating wealth, and in terms of how much they will be taxed. The former Treasury Secretary, Ken Henry, called them poor buggers on Friday. I put this to the Treasurer, as well as the fact that living in outer Brisbane, where houses are comparatively cheap, he might not understand the depth of the problems for first homeowners. What do you have to say to the poor buggers?
Well, first of all, I take Ken's intervention seriously, someone I've got a lot of respect for. We're acting on climate change. We are acting on housing supply and housing affordability. There are legislated tax cuts coming into the system next year, the middle of next year. So really across all of those fronts that Ken was right to point to, frankly, they are some of the challenges that younger people do face, in particular, over the course of the next 40 years or so, and we take those challenges seriously, and that's why we're acting on them.
The suburb you grew up in, you're still in, Logan in Brisbane, you can get a house there for about $450,000, right? In parts of Western Sydney now, out of Western Sydney, it's $1 million minimum for a house. Do young people in Sydney in particular, and maybe Melbourne, just have to accept they're going to rent, that home ownership's beyond them now?
I don't think we should be defeatist about it. We need to get beyond just thinking about aggregates in our economy. We need to recognise that different parts of Australia are under different kinds of pressures. Yeah, we'll be in WA, the Cabinet, in the course of the next couple of days, and we recognise the pressures in WA are different to the pressures here in Logan City.
All right, so the New South Wales Premier, Chris Minns, he wants to develop up. He wants to develop infill rather than just out. And he was talking about the scale of the housing affordability problem in Sydney this morning.
Young people in particular are saying 10 years ago, would I ever be able to afford to buy a place in Sydney? Now the question is, will I ever be able to afford to rent a place?